Hey class, this is a tutorial for 5th grade piggy banks, clay piggy banks. I have two examples here, one that has been glazed already and is actually a pig, and then where it's standing and sits on its four legs that it has here. You will notice that it has a nice money hole for it, but there is no way to get it out. So you have two options. You can either cut a hole in the bottom and find a plug at home or put a piece of tape over so that way you can get your money out, or you have to smash it to get your money out. And then I have a student example here where it's actually going to be sitting on its bottom here. So there's a couple different ways that you could do it. So it could actually stand on the legs, or it could sit on its bottom. So this would be a horse. So we got the tail here, the mane here, and then the four legs in the front. You'll also see the money holes on the top of the head. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to make these. So you're going to first get a piece of clay, but before we do this, all the materials that you will need is a clay board. You will need a bucket, a piece of tape with your name on it, a couple of tools, and that should be about it. So you're going to get a chunk of clay. What you're going to want to do is split it into 3 pieces, okay? And 2 of them must be as even as possible, about the same size. And you're going to first make these 2 round. This one is for your extras, so like ears, tails, feet, and all that other stuff. This one can be put to the side. These other 2 we need to make into balls. Make them round. You can use both your hands, kind of pat it and turn it. You could use your clay board and the table, roll it around. Okay, once you get both of them done, you want to kind of make sure that they're the same size, because we're going to end up making 2 pinch pots out of them and putting the pinch pots together to create the cavity inside where the money will sit. Alright, so once you have 2 decent, they're pretty close, you're going to want to go and smooth out any cracks before we start our pinch pots. And I'm just rubbing my thumb right across and smoothing out those cracks. Alright, then we're going to take one at a time, and you're going to push your thumb into your piece of clay. Make a hole. Okay? You don't want to go all the way through. Okay, and then what you're going to do is pinch. You're going to only have your thumb in the inside hole part, and your other 4 fingers on the outside. You're going to pinch together, and turn. Pinch and turn. And as you pinch and turn, you will notice that your hole gets bigger and bigger. And now it's more of a bowl. It's called a pinch pot. And what you want to do, you don't want to get your sides too thin. You want to keep them about the thickness of your pointer finger. So you don't want to pinch too much. If your walls get too thin, your piggy bank gets really fragile. And you might pop holes into your piggy bank as you work on it, or indents. Alright, so I got a nice pot here. I'm also going to take the top and pat it down very gently onto my board, just to create a nice flat edge. So when I put those 2 together, it's not all jagged and I don't have a bunch of holes. Okay, make my other one again. You're going to push your thumb in and start pinching again. Only your thumb's in the inside. You pinch and turn. Your hole's getting bigger and bigger. Again, you don't want your bottom to be too thick, so you also have to pinch at the bottom just a little bit. And we don't want our walls to get too thin. But you want a decent sized cavity so your piggy bank can hold a decent amount of money. Okay, so I'm going to go quick here. Smooth it all out. So before you put them together, you're going to want to make sure that your bowls are as smooth as possible. You want to get rid of any cracks that you see, any lumps that you see before you put them together, because it's a lot harder to do. Smooth it all out. Again, I'm going to flatten my top here so that way they will stick together. And I'm going to check and see if one's bigger than the other. If one ends up being bigger, take the small one and maybe pinch it out just a little bit more to match the other one. Okay, so that's pretty close, I'd say. Okay, so then we need to scratch both pieces. Add scratch marks on the top where they're going to connect. Then we're going to take our little cup of slip. You only need to put slip on one piece. Get it nice and slimy. Okay, I'm going to put these two together. And this is where you need to be careful, because you don't want to push too hard when you smooth these two pieces together, because we're going to get rid of that crack and it looks like it was one big ball together. So you can do this with your thumb, or you can do this with a nice little spoon tool. You're going to take one side, smooth it to the other, maybe take the other side and go back and forth. You don't want to press too hard, otherwise you're going to get an indent in your pot. So you're going to go back and forth. I like to use my thumb. Seems to do a little bit better job. It's up to you. Smooth it out so that way you won't see the crack anymore. All right. So if you end up getting, as you're smoothing, you get an indent, and I'll show you what that looks like here. In the middle where the two are pushed together, what you can do to get rid of that indent, so let's say we have an indent right here. See how it comes in and it curves in right here? There's like a little ditch. Almost looks like it's turning into a figure 8. Take a little piece of your extra coil or your extra clay, make a little snake out of it, a little coil, however long that indent is, and you're going to put it right up to that indent. I'm going to flatten it out just a teensy bit. Kind of looks like a belt now. And you're going to smooth that coil in to both sides, which will help get rid of that indent. And it'll be a lot flatter, and it won't look like so much as a figure 8 or an 8. And then we got rid of, look how nice and smooth that is now. Okay, so this is our base. This is our body or whatever animal or object that you are making. This is where all the money's going to go. So from here, we got to decide, are we making an animal? Is it going to sit on its bottom, or are we going to add legs? So with my extra clay, I'm going to start making legs. And I'm going to show you both the different ways to do this. We'll roll out a coil. We're going to pretend we have nice round legs. I'm going to cut one leg off first and then measure it with the other ones so my legs are all the same height. You don't want one leg longer than the other if they're sitting on them. Also something to think about. If they're going to be sitting on the legs and your body's really, really big, you don't want itty bitty legs to try and hold up your heavy body. So these legs would be too small, too thin. So what I could do, I could add them and have it sitting on its butt and add them to the sides and bottom. Okay, what you would have to do is scratch the area that's going to be connected, scratch the area, slip it, and just because I scratched and slipped it doesn't mean it's going to stay. You need to take a tool and take a little piece of that arm and push it into your body all the way around, even the bottom of your arm. Okay, so we went all the way around. See the difference? You see that little crack between the two pieces? Here you don't. Then I would also suggest taking your finger and smoothing it out. Any sharp edges that you have will get even sharper once your clay dries. Okay, so we could do something like that. And we could just add his face onto here, so his body and his face maybe are all together. We could add a head, like we did on both of these. However, the heads are a little bit different. This one does not have a hole in it and will not hold money. This is just a little ball that was connected to the body. This one was a small pinch pot that was added to the body, because she put her money hole on the top, so she wanted her money to go through her head into her body. Okay, so I'm going to make a little pinch pot and show you how to do that. Nice round from your extra clay. Push your thumb in. And this is just a baby pinch pot, kind of what we did with the body. Okay, we can put that up on top. Again, you need to scratch and slip wherever it's going to go. But before you do that, in order for this to work, I have to cut a hole here, so my money can go through my head, through my body. I don't want to cut too big of a hole to where my head, so my hole sticks outside of my head. That wouldn't be good. Okay, so as I'm cutting, making sure I'm cutting all the way through, and I pull that piece out. And you're going to want to smooth it out so your money doesn't get stuck between. Okay, so scratch both pieces, slip both pieces, and then smooth your head using your tools or your fingers, a piece of your head down onto your body. Do not forget this part. This is very important. If you forget that part, more than likely, parts of your body will fall off. Your head will fall off, or your legs and arms will fall off. All right, so now we have our head. Okay, I'm going to show you those other legs. If you decide to do legs where it's going to stand on the legs, again, they have to be decently thick. And when you do your legs, your body's going to be on the side. You want your legs to be sticking up into the air. Such like that. You don't want your body to sit on your legs, because what will end up happening, the weight of your body, because your clay is still wet, the weight of your body will squish your legs. And the next time you come, your legs on your body will now look something like that. So we have to let our legs dry upside down on our body so they can support our body. Okay, so remember, you gotta scratch and slip. You can use your other tools to add decorations. Maybe you're going to draw the face on there. Add hair. or other things like that. But when it's time to clean up, what you will need to do is grab your bucket, wet paper towels, damp paper towels around your body here, around your extra clay, in case you're not done, and put it in your bucket. I like to use the lid as our base. Dry paper towel on the bottom. You might have to lay your piggy bank down because it might not fit with the lid on top because it might be too tall. Also, do not forget to put your hole for your money before it dries. Again, you could put it here on the back, or you could put it through the head because we made a hole for our money to go through our head into our body. And all you're doing is putting a nice little splice in there with your tool. Make sure it's thick enough to where a quarter could get in there. You don't want it too small and not be able to get money in there. Your clay also shrinks as it dries, so that hole will shrink just a little bit. Okay, so we have damp paper towels around both of these. We're going to make sure our lid is on nice and tight, otherwise when we come back to art the next day it will be dry and rock hard and you won't be able to work on it anymore. And then that goes on the shelf when you're done. So good luck, and I hope they turn out great.